Welcome to the Planning Your Summer Food Service Program Application Training for the Summer Food Service Program SFSP, hosted by Oklahoma State Department of Education Child Nutrition Programs, referred to in this training as the state agency, SA. During the training, when directed to the web page, this will always refer to the OSDE SFSP webpage at sde.ok.gov/SDE/summerfood, unless otherwise specified. In this training, we will review information on applying to become a SFSP sponsor, VCA checklist for nonprofits, viable, capable, and accountable, how applications are approved, what happens if an application is denied, what is included in the permanent sponsor agreement, what a sponsor may appeal, a planning checklist for your program. All sponsors are required to submit an initial program application. The application process involves submittal of paper forms and online forms. A list of application requirements cannot be all-inclusive. However, the following slides indicate the basic application requirements that sponsors must satisfy. A complete application must be submitted by the deadline date of April 30th. All necessary supporting documentation must be submitted to the SA as well. Incomplete applications will delay the approval process. The application materials must demonstrate adequate administrative and financial responsibility to manage an effective food service. School food authorities, SFA, and other sponsors currently in good standing in the NSLP, School Breakfast Program, SBP, or Child and Adult Care Food Program, CACFP, are not required to submit further evidence of financial and administrative capability when applying for SFSP participation. Typically, SFAs and CACFP sponsors participating in other child nutrition programs have already demonstrated that they have the financial and administrative capability necessary to operate the NSLP, SBP, or CACFP. An SFA or CACFP sponsor is considered to be in good standing if it has been reviewed during the previous 12 months and had no significant deficiencies. However, the SA has the discretion to deny the applications or, at a minimum, require additional evidence of financial and administrative capability from SFA and CACFP sponsors that have had significant problems operating the NSLP, SBP, or CACFP. All nonprofits are required to submit an initial VCA checklist as part of the application requirements. Once this is approved by the SA, access to the application is given. In order to participate in the SFSP, sponsors must enter into a permanent program agreement with the SA. The agreement is a legally binding document that specifies the rights and responsibilities of both the sponsor and the SA and should be read carefully before being signed. The Healthy, Hunger-Free Kids Act of 2010 requires that the agreement between the state agency and SFSP sponsor be permanent. This means that once the SA and SFSP sponsor enters an agreement, it does not need to be renewed. However, SFSP sponsors operating under a permanent agreement must submit renewal information that must be approved by the SA annually. Applicants must understand that describing the agreement as permanent means only that the agreement has no predetermined expiration date. Under certain circumstances, these agreements may be amended or canceled, and this feature of the agreement does not create contractual obligations beyond those described in the SFSP regulations. This requirement reduces paperwork for sponsors and state agencies and simplifies program management. Under the agreement, the sponsor must agree to operate a nonprofit food service during the agreed-upon period, usually from May through September, for children on school vacation. Serve meals that meet the program requirements at the approved sites during times designated as meal service periods by the sponsor, and serve the same meal to all children. Serve meals without cost to all children. Camps may charge for meals served to children not served meals under the program. Issue a free meal policy statement. Train administrative and site personnel as required. Claim reimbursement only for types of meals specified in the agreement and served without charge to eligible children at approved sites during the approved meal service period. Submit claims for reimbursement as required by the SA. Maintain proper sanitation and health standards as required by state and local law. Use program food donated by USDA and accepted by the sponsor. Have access to facilities necessary for storing, preparing, and serving food. Maintain a financial management system as prescribed by the SA. Maintain documentation of required site visits and reviews, and make all accounts and records relating to the program available to authorized officials on request. And retain financial and administrative responsibility for the program. Applicants must also submit documentation of tax-exempt status under the Federal Internal Revenue Code of 1986 if they are private nonprofit entities. Note, SFSP regulations do not require church sponsors to obtain federal tax-exempt documentation. W-9 form and a Data Universal Numbering System, DUNS number. A DUNS number is a unique, non-indicative 9-digit identifier issued and maintained by Dun & Bradstreet that verifies the existence of a business entity globally. D&B assigns DUNS numbers for each physical location of a business. You may go to sam.gov for issuance of a DUNS number. More information regarding the DUNS number can be found on the web page under Resources. For enrolled sites, applicants must provide a written policy statement on free meals. This policy statement, which must be approved by the SA, explains that the same meal is served to all enrolled children, regardless of reimbursement status, and without discrimination against any child because of race, color, national origin, sex, age, or disability. Camps that charge separately for meals also must explain that the camp uses USDA's eligibility standards for family size and income levels at the level of reduced-price school meals. Describe how the camp accepts income eligibility forms from campers and assures that children whose families receive SNAP, FDPIR, or TANF benefits are automatically eligible for free meals. Describe how the camp will collect payments from children who must pay the full price for their meals, and how the camp ensures that children receiving free meals are not overtly identified. Assure that the camp has a hearing procedure for families who want to appeal a denial of eligibility for free meals, and assure that if a family requests a hearing, the child will continue to receive free meals until a decision is made by the hearing official. Sponsors must submit documentation demonstrating site eligibility for all sites. Sponsors must submit a sample 1-month menu for all meals offered at each site. Once the application is approved, sponsors can print the draft media release from the application site. This will need to be put on your letterhead and sent to the news media as well as the local health department. A copy should come back to the SA before the application can be approved. The purpose of the media release is to announce the availability of free meals, the non-discrimination policy, and complaint procedures if an individual wishes to file a complaint for violation of non-discrimination policy. Sponsors that plan to use a food service management company to provide meals must submit a copy of the invitation for bid. Sponsors also should submit plans for advertisement for bids if they intend to contract with a food service management company. Sponsors that plan to use a school food authority to provide meals must submit a copy of the vended meal agreement. Sponsors must certify that a training program will be conducted for monitors and site personnel, including information explaining when the training will be held and the topics that will be discussed. If the sponsor is a governmental entity or a private nonprofit organization, the sponsor must certify that it will have direct operational control at each site. SFSP application consists of both sponsor information and site information. The sponsor application includes contact information for the sponsor, contact information for administrative staff, the management plan or budget based on estimated administrative costs and estimated operating costs for the upcoming year, information on the meal service, etc. The site application includes documentation that the site is capable of managing an effective meal service times, documentation of eligibility, average daily attendance, etc. A site application must be completed for each participating site. The deadline for submitting an application to operate the SFSP is April 30th. Within 30 days of receiving a completed application, the SA will notify the applicant of its approval or disapproval. If the application is incomplete, the SA will notify the applicant within 15 days and provide technical assistance to help the applicant complete the application process. Approval to participate must be denied to any applicant found to be seriously deficient in the operation of any federal child nutrition program, including those disqualified from the CACFP. Sponsors will receive reimbursement only for meals that are served after they have been approved for program operations. Sponsors must be certain that they have been approved before they begin their meal service. Once an initial application has been approved by the SA, more limited annual updates to the application will be required. Federal law requires that sponsors submit an annual budget for approval by the SA. Any sponsor denied participation in the program or denied program payment may request a hearing by an official other than the one directly responsible for the original determination. At the time of the denial, the SA will tell the sponsor whom to contact for an appeal. The following SA actions may be appealed: denial of a sponsor's request for an advance payment, denial of a sponsor's claim for reimbursement, except on decisions made by FNS with respect to late claims or upward adjustments, termination of a sponsor's or a site's participation in the program, denial of a sponsor's site application, if applicable, denial of a food service management company's application for registration, or the revocation of a food service management company's registration, claim against a sponsor for remittance of a payment, and refusal by the SA to forward to FNS an exception request by the sponsor for a payment of a late claim or a request for an upward adjustment to a claim. A planning checklist summarizing SFSP planning activities is available on the web page under Forms. If you have any questions, please contact the SA office at 405-521-3327. Thank you for participating in the Planning the Program application training.